It's 4 o'clock on a Monday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Woohoo! This week, celebrating the life of Mr. Ralph Murphy. Thank you, fake band. Thank you, fake audience. Love iCarly. Let me get that chat room open so I can say hello to you, ladies and gentlemen. There you guys are. There you are. Okay. So this week, I think everybody who's here in the show probably read the email. Ralph Murphy, who was a very, very, very dear friend of mine and a longtime friend of Taxi's, has been to probably almost every single Taxi Road rally. He has for many, many years walked around the rally, helping people, listening to their songs, helping them with their songcraft, giving them, he was one of those people that had x-ray vision when it came to songs. He could hear a song and instantly go, well, you should try this, that, and the other thing. And I swear he was always right about that stuff. Every time I was ever a party to a conversation like that, I'd go, yep, right about that. And he passed away 6 days ago, last Tuesday. He'd been ill. He had throat cancer about 18 months ago, I want to say, and had survived that. The chemo really did a number on him. The radiation did a number on him. He lost his taste buds, so it was good because when he came and stayed at our house, we could buy cheaper wine. He didn't know the difference. He was just at our house about a month ago, almost exactly a month ago, and we were joking about that. And of course, he took it in stride, thought it was funny. He's one of the few people on the planet that appreciated my sense of humor or lack thereof. Anyway, he's always been a big supporter of Taxi, and more importantly, a huge supporter of our members. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but for years, Ralph would hang out at the road rally. He would do his classes, where he would do like a first day where he would listen to stuff, make suggestions, and then send people back to their hotel rooms to work on the stuff, and work on their songs, and come back a day or two later and play the resulting effort. And people really loved it. But almost more importantly is he just made himself available to people, and I think he charged $5 or $10 a song, but it didn't go into his pocket. At the end of the road rally, he would total up how much money, and usually it was somewhere around $500 that he'd earned during the course of the rally, and whatever amount Ralph raised, then Taxi would match that, and we would donate the money to a food bank, or not a food bank, feeding the homeless on Thanksgiving after the road rally every year. So he did a lot of good in his life. There's a lot more good other than that, but quite a fixture on Music Row in Nashville. Many people thought of Ralph as kind of the welcome wagon. There's literally nobody in the country music business especially that Ralph couldn't get you set up with a meeting. It was amazing. Anytime I needed to meet somebody at a label or a producer or what have you for any purposes that were Taxi related, I'd make one phone call and Ralph would call me back within 3 or 4 hours and say, no problem, bud, you got a meeting with that person on Tuesday of next week. So he was very well connected, extremely humble, extremely generous with his time, really cared about songwriters. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of you guys know this already, but we had an annual golf outing. Every year we would do 2 days of golf back-to-back leading up to the ASCAP Expo, which he would fly in to speak at. And he would stay at our house, and I've probably learned more about songwriting and just the industry, you know, in general. Spending time in a golf cart with Ralph Murphy was something. You know, it's like you were getting educated while out having a good time. So I always appreciated that. So today, I'm not going to play a repeat of when he was here a month ago, because frankly he was weak, his voice was gone, his memory was a little, it wasn't his memory actually, I should correct myself. He had what he called chemo fog, so it was hard for him to express himself, and it was hard to spit out a thought, kind of like that, which was not something Ralph ever had a problem with in his lifetime, I'm sure. So it was hard for me to see him like that, and probably hard for some of you who knew him vis-a-vis the Road Rally or trips to Nashville or whatever. So I'm going to play an episode from a couple of years ago where he hadn't been affected by the cancer or the chemo or the radiation yet. And he was in typical Ralph form. So I'm just going to play that, and I'm not going to come back at the end of the show. Hopefully I can get this transition playing the video right at the beginning of the show. And when it's over, the show is over. The audio on it doesn't sound nearly as good as I sound now because I don't believe we were using this microphone yet. So the audio doesn't sound great, but one last trip around the block with Mr. Murphy I think is definitely in order. By the way, I want to say thank you to all you folks who have been sending condolence emails my way. I'm sorry that I can't respond to each of them individually, but literally there are dozens, probably a couple hundred by this point today. So I'm sorry that I can't respond to every single one of them, and thank you. I really appreciate you guys sending them. So here we go. A little repeat of Mr. Ralph Murphy. And whoa, I didn't want to do that like I did it. Oh my goodness. I shouldn't have double clicked that. Anyway, let's go.
Study all the #1 records, pop, country airplay. And I would say this year there were 38 country airplay records. There were 11 top 10, or some #1 country Billboard chart records, and there were 9 #1 pop records. Well, I would say out of all of them, I probably like maybe 3 or 4, but 20 million people loved them and adored them and bought them. So who's right? Those 20 million people or me, the chump? I've got to respect the consumer. So I really need to know what the consumer wants. So that's the major reason that I study all these #1 records, just so I can get a handle on it, what they consumers want from me.
Well, there you go. Customer's always right, no doubt about it.
Yes. Sad but true.
Well, no, I don't think it's sad. I think that people should get what they want, get what they bargain for. That's the nature of business and commerce and art. Look, nobody buys a painting for their home that they don't love.
Exactly. Well, the same way that they either love or hate a song. You don't really love a song, and you don't really hate a song. That means it spoke to you, about you, or a situation you heavily identified with, or it didn't. It's that simple. That's what motivates you to love or hate a song.
Works for me. How about, it seems like we've moved into a period where beats are very, very important in pop records in particular. Sometimes you came up, and I was fairly close behind you in an era where lyric craft was critical, especially in Nashville. You go to a meeting with a publisher and they will take a song apart. Not to be malicious about it, but they'll say, well, the pronoun should be this, and you spent too much time getting to the hook, and the intro is too long, and they do it because they're trying to help the writers become better. But nowadays, beats are very, very important, and I have noticed in many of the songs I hear on the radio, the lyrics are inane, but the beats are infectious. So does that play into what you're going to talk about today?
Oh yeah, no. If you notice, in most cases, #1 records are under 100 beats per minute, simply because you're dealing with a sedentary audience. If you look at Wrecking Ball, it was 60 beats per minute, which is at-rest music. Hello.
Tell them what at-rest means.
At rest means 60 beats per minute is when you're at rest. You are driving in your car, you are sitting at an office, you are doing whatever you're doing, but you are not dancing. The great bulk, almost 95% of country records are under 100 beats per minute, simply because you're not dancing to them. You may be drinking to them, you may be, but you're driving a car to them, or you're responding in a positive way. So just basically, I can read you.
Should we? Do you want to listen to some songs first? You want to do 2 songs now and 2 songs later in the show?
We sure can.
Okay, let's
see. The reason I'm really excited about having done the research on all these songs, it's like, ooh, 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 you won't guess what's happening out there in the marketplace.
Well, then let's do this stuff and we can listen to some songs later in the show.
All right.
Okay, don't
Sure.
you guys in the chat room let me forget to play the songs. We got them ready to go.
Oh, okay.
All right, so yes.
Okay.
Take it away.
You want the pop charts or the country charts, Billboard charts, or the country airplay songs?
What's your favorite?
I have no favorites. I will start with the country airplay songs because there were 38 of them.
Right.
38 #1 records last year. And I will achieve. So if you want a hit that will go to #1 on the country airplay chart, have an average of an 18-second intro because it will be designed for radio. Intros are designed for radio. Make sure that the artist is speaking directly to a quote-unquote you within 15 seconds on average after the vocal kicks in.
A literal you. Like you are the subject of the song.
You
is
make
the
me trigger
feel like
word
this. Okay.
that invites the listener in. Make sure the problem is it's called playing the U card. When you play the U card, you have to tell that listener how great they are. You can't go on about yourself. You have to tell them how wonderful they are. Make sure that the artist is speaking directly to a you within 15 seconds. Write the song in 3rd or 2nd structure, but don't be afraid of 4th form. That's verse, chorus, instrumental, chorus, and out, or verse, chorus, middle 8, chorus, and out, or bridge, as it's called. Don't bore us, get us to the chorus. Is the anthem.
Yes.
Is still the anthem for country airplay. Hit the bridge or middle 8 or instrumental between 2 minutes and change. It's called the 2-minute wall. Keep it under 100 beats per minute, 86. All of them seem to be working at 86 beats per minute. Dead end the song. And that is important to dead end the song because you don't want that listener weaned off that particular song and moved on to the next one. You want them annoyed and want to hear it again. They feel cheated. So it's really important. And probably aim it at a male artist or not.
What does that mean? Probably.
Well,
you mean if you're a songwriter, write for a male artist?
There was only one female artist on the Billboard 38 of the 38 #1 records. There was only one female.
Why do you think that is? Because who were the listeners? I would think that the listeners would have more women than men.
More women than men.
And
well,
women...
actually, I'm doing a project with an Australian university. Males apparently stream, women physically download and buy. And that's my October project, and that's really fun because I really want to know, and the only way for me to find out is to do it. So
women obviously want to hear a male artist.
The bottom line. Not only that, the last thing a woman wants to hear at 7 in the morning as she was on her way to work is another woman whining.
Okay.
So once you get under 100 beats per minute, the thing is with pop, all the women are winners. If you're looking at Lady Gaga, you're looking at Beyonce, you're looking at all of them. They are all winners.
Female empowerment.
With female empowerment. So that gives them a role model. Just at the beginning of the day, they are rocking. They are invested in that. So it's really really cool.
Um, Russell Landwehr in the chat room is saying that when you talked about the dead ending,
Hmm.
or dead ending a song, in film and TV parlance, we call that a buttoned ending.
Hmm.
Same thing. You're just talking about a
Sure.
finite ending. Usually goes back to the root
Yes.
chord and just ends on a beat
Yeah.
and rings out versus a fade, right?
Yeah.
Anything
Uh,
more to it?
Yeah, what we would do when I was producing a lot of albums and very successful albums, we would always like put 10 or 12 or 15 songs, and we would always do a fade, which would wean that listener off that track and move them on to the next track. When you're designing singles, and again, these are singles that someone is going to spend between $500,000 and $2 million on
Marketing.
marketing. That's in terms of video production, tour support, all that stuff. On average, it's going to cost about $1 million for a country single. The minimum is probably about $500,000 in terms of what's going to resonate with people. Anyway, sorry. The
I'm
pop.
not sorry at all.
Oh no, no. It's just they're Archie, the IFPI,
Which stands for?
the International Federation of Phonographic Industry.
Damn, I was reading that wrong. I was having a dyslexic moment. And seeing it from a distance, I thought it said pornographic industry. I thought we were going to cover some new ground today.
No, record companies are estimated to annually invest $4.3 billion worldwide in artists and repertoire. That represents 27% of industry revenues. The major labels combined have around 7,500 artists on their rosters, and tens of thousands more are signed to independents.
Say that again.
Okay, the major labels have around 7,500 artists on their rosters, and tens of thousands more are signed to independent labels.
All right, so that's 7,500 artists, and you've got to figure that probably 2/3 of those artists use outside songs.
Yes. Yes.
So call that whatever that is, 5,000 artists that need songs every year.
Yes, and what you are doing, you are designing scripts that will make people want to spend up to $1 million on them. So you are doing a script that will basically make that singer look good to people who are predisposed to hate them, make that singer look like a winner, use the pronoun you to invite that listener in within about 18 to 20 seconds, change the rhyme scheme verse to chorus, or verse to pre-chorus to chorus, to lure the listener through. Although I have noticed as hip hop is creeping into country music with like Sam Hunt, his pre-choruses, he changed the rhythm instead of changing the actual rhyme scheme, which is a fascinating new development, which I think is going to be fun. It really is. Everything is fun to me.
And we get a surprising number, I mean, not a huge number, but surprising for how relatively new it is. People in film and TV looking for hip hop stuff. And not even necessarily with lyrics, but it has, and clear, I think you and I have probably talked about this on a golf course before, that it's come of age because the listeners have come of age. Kids that have grown up, kids that live in country radio markets have grown up with hip hop, and they wanted to hear the two melded together. And as soon as they heard it, they went, I love that.
Yes, and if you're looking at Josh Osborne and you're looking at Sam Hunt, you're looking at Chris DiStefano, you're looking at Mac McAnally, or actually Shane McAnally, they're really, really taking on board the genre, but expressing themselves with country roots. It's really, really cool.
So how does that affect, if I can take you off your game here for a minute?
No, sure.
I'm trying to imagine a publishing meeting in Nashville where somebody goes in, a songwriter goes in to meet with the publisher, and what they've got is a hip hop song. Have the publishers, glommed onto that, and do they understand the structure of hip hop, and are they able to guide their writers as well as they were with traditional country coaching?
I don't think they're really writing herd over. It's basically, if you get a writer signed, it's because they're writing with the right posse. That posse means that basically they're writing with Dallas Davidson and Ben Hazlip, or they're part of the joint venture. A lot of writers have joint ventures. Brett James has, um, Ashley Gorley has, a lot of singer-songwriters, songwriters take on new ventures with established labels and set up their own company and virtually groom them, which is great because
Groom
I
who?
think it's
You lost me.
groom the new writer. They've
Who's grooming the new writer? When you say
the
Brett James,
established writers.
yeah.
If you look at the Craig Wisemans, you're looking at Ashley Gorley's, you're looking at Brett James, you're looking at whatever. They are doing joint ventures with established publishers.
And then
And
they're grooming and developing the younger writers. Got it.
yeah,
Okay.
which I personally I think is wonderful. That's the way I learned as you know, as a child writer, as a kid writer. It was lovely, and it was really, really. As much as I resented that information, when they said, "Oh no, you have to. Your pronouns should be you, not she or he or it." I was, "What do you mean? You know, I'm 20. You're over 30. Gosh,
What
come
do you
on.
know? Yeah.
What do you know?" And I really found the craft was all the changes from year to year and genre to genre is vocabulary and technology.
Hmm.
It's really, really lovely. The way that the human animal receives information is a constant, and that's lovely. I love it.
All right. Continue, please.
Okay, well let's do the pop.
Okay.
Whee! All right. So, if you want a number one pop Billboard chart record, remember these were the number ones of last year. This is the consumer speaking, not me. Have an approximately 9-second intro. That's factoring in Taylor Swift's zero start and dividing by the total number of songs on the chart.
Explain what a zero start is.
A zero start is when it starts from zero.
So there is no intro.
There's no intro at all. But again, she's dealing. Taylor Swift is dealing at 85 beats per minute, which really is kind of a radio-friendly tempo. Anyway, blah, blah. 9 number ones are aimed at radio, whether streaming or not, dancing or not. Use the pronoun you within 21 seconds or sooner. Use detail to invite the listener in. Tell them how good or bad that quote-unquote you is. Get to the first use of title in under 1 minute, in 1 minute or less, and have a dead end. If you're aiming at under 100 beats per minute, all of them were between 80 and 86 BPM. And that gender issue, well, that's a whole different thing.
Well, what do you mean?
Unlike the country genre, pop deals more equitably with female artists. 3 of the 9 number ones are written in part or performed by women artists. Unfortunately, when it comes to the writer part, those are the only 2 females who wrote on number 1 songs in a total of 33 writers.
Wow. Why is that, do you think?
But you know why? I challenge, and women really, really do this well. There is a whole cathartic thing. Well, you hurt me, blah, 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 blah. Get over it. That singer artist is always a winner. If it's like Carrie Underwood, hey, good girl, it's not her. She is talking to this other girl. So all you have to do is change the pronoun and you look like a winner. Why would I spend $1,100,000 making my artist look like a loser to women at worst time of day possible, first thing in the morning? I will not do that. That song is a script to make that singer look good to women at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's slightly different when you're going into streaming and you're going into dance and you're going into, there's a whole bunch of different genres that are engaged, but in country, it's very, very, very specific.
Interesting. Somebody had a question. McGaith asked the question: if telling the you they are bad, will they switch their allegiance to the singer? So I think she means that, if I'm singing through the radio to you, going, "You're such a bad boy, Ralph. You're such a bad person, awful,
Well,
terrible person."
if it's the woman telling this guy that he's bad,
Yeah,
then that's fine.
because it's empowering to the women.
Yes.
Okay.
But if it's the other way around, not so much.
Yeah, it's probably a lawsuit.
Yeah, there you go.
A PC lawsuit. It's really interesting. The whole gender aspect of this is interesting. How the different genders absorb music and consume it. And I mean, do pro writers actually sit down? Look, Ralph knows virtually everybody who's anybody, if not entirely everybody who's anybody in Nashville, and hit songwriters all over the world. Do they sit down when they sit to craft a song? Do they consider this stuff, or do they just emote and it comes out sounding like a hit? But will they rework a song and go, you know what, this song doesn't speak to you, the pronoun is wrong, or this song doesn't empower the female singer that I'm pitching it to enough? Do they think about this stuff, or is this stuff that happens and you've annotated it or noticed it after the fact?
Well, it just seems to be a recurring fact in everything. And let me go back a couple of years ago. I was doing this for Robert Horsfall at in Dear Baker Street. It is really, really a great little warren of studios, and it has top liners and producers and
This is in the UK.
writers in the United Kingdom. Well, I was doing a presentation basically on the PowerPoint saying that, this happens, and the pronoun you, and just so happens that back in Nashville, the pronoun, the Wanted was the #1 song, Hunter Hayes, and the first word was you. And in England at the time, the #1 song was Hall of Fame. And it was, you can do this, you can do that, you can be in the Hall of Fame. So I said, I used that current example of that information. And afterwards, this gentleman came up to me and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm the writer. I'm one of the writers on Hall of Fame." And he said, "I've got a great story to tell you." And I said, "Oh, okay, what's the story?" He said, "Well, my name's Jimbo Barry." And I said, "Okay." He said, "When we wrote the song initially, it was good. I can do that. I can do that. I can be in the Hall of Fame." And then for about 2 days, we argued back and forth whether it should be you or whether it should be I. And I guess we decided it should be you. I guess we did right. I said, "You are, that is, the script really, really did it well."
Is that because nobody cares when it's all about, I did this and I care about that and I was hurt by this other thing? Nobody gives a damn about me.
The first
when the voice coming out of the radio is talking to you.
The first three things you feel you have a mandate to do when you discover you have this wonderful gift of creation is whine, preach, and vent. The last 3 things I want to hear coming out of my speaker is someone whining, preaching, or venting, unless they do it with humor, irony, and detail, detail, detail. Invite me into the song. Writer's assumption will kill you. Well,
explain what writer's assumption is.
Okay, writer's assumption, you assume, every writer assumes that everyone knows what they know.
Right.
Well, she left him. Who's she? Who's he? Where'd she go? What happened? And you leave that listener twisting in the wind, and it's awful. You can't do that. You want to hunt someone down and say, write the first verse, invite me in. Basically, the first 4 lines of every song lead directly to that title line. in 60 seconds or less.
And the title line should be in the hook.
Yeah,
Or in the chorus.
the title, if you, there was only one song of the 38 airplay records, the 11 #1 country records, and the 9 #1 pop records. There was only one record of one song that didn't feature the song. And there was the second #1, and it was The Weeknd and Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Hills was not a destination in that song, but that was their second #1. So, whatever.
It's funny, we were talking about this today in the golf course.
Anomalies. I love anomalies, by the way. When something doesn't fit the pattern, but it's still a big hit, you go, oh, okay.
Well, patterns, the whole idea of being formulaic scares the crap out of writers.
Sure.
I know that from, close to 25 years of running taxi. People are so averse to, I don't want to do something formulaic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they're creative people, right? You guys want to create something new and different and have the world go, wow, that's new and different, and congratulations for creating that. So we were also golfing today with Marlon Hookman Bonds, who's a hit songwriter in his own right, and a much better golfer than he thinks he is, I might add.
Yes, he is.
And a really good guy. And we were talking about this, I think, on the first hole today, about writers having this aversion to being formulaic. And he made a comment that doesn't scare me because I want to write music that people want to consume. I want to do this for a living, so I need to give the audience what they want. So if you can tell me better what the audience wants, I want to deliver that. I think that was a good, healthy attitude, because he didn't even consider that would engender a lack of creativity on his part. It's just like, tell me what the structure is, and then I'll get creative within the structure.
I've got to know, and every year I study all the #1 records. And as I say, I probably hate 90% of them. And these were #1 records that sold millions and millions of records. And you go, man, wow. And then you listen to it over and over, and you see in a pattern evolving, and you suddenly have empathy with that song. You see what the listener wanted and got from it, and it charms you. As grudging, as grumpy as I am, it charms me.
We hear this from,
as I say in the book.
A lot of our members are, like 30 to 60-year-olds, middle-aged people, and they don't like what they hear on radio today, and they don't want to be formulaic, and they're really resistant to writing for today's artists and today's radio hits. But I also make the argument all the time, I'm hearing more interesting stuff on the radio in the last 2 or 3 years than I heard in the decade that preceded it.
Oh, yeah.
Some new artists, and labels are taking more chances. They're hungrier to find artists, even though much of what you hear on the radio sounds like formulaic pop. There are artists that have broken through that aren't formulaic, and they become the new thing to emulate. So I think it's a really good time right now, personally.
Yes. And always remember that script, that as a songwriter, you writing the script to make that singer look good to people who didn't tune in for new music. They tuned in for something that they loved and they already had a good association with. So it's overcoming that resistance in 60 seconds, because that's all you have. There is no waiting for the second verse. If that doesn't have it and doesn't invite me in to that song within 60 seconds, I'm gone.
Do you think it's because we're so used to, if I have a question, if I'm fixing plumbing at home and I need an answer, I can go to YouTube and find a video that's a 2-minute video on how to, get a diamond ring out of the J pipe or whatever they call it in your drain. Everything is instantaneous now, and we live in a society where information flies at your face all day long. Are listeners impatient to get to the chorus because of that, or?
I think they always were. They want to be spoken to about themselves or a situation they heavily identify with. I think it's all about them. That's why they say, well, I love that song or I hate that song. They do neither.
Sorry, I'm scanning the chat room to see if anybody had
Okay.
a question. Do you try to write 6 months ahead of the trends? That's from Richard Charles.
No, unfortunately, I just follow the title. I'll find a title that really charms me, and I'll carry about 250 titles on my phone. And I'll go into a writing situation and I'll throw out, how about That's Why I Love You? And they'll go, no, I don't think about that. Well, how about Tennessee Avenue? How about that? I'm sitting the Monopoly game in front of me. How about the Electric Company? No, no, I don't want to write that. And I'll go through like half a dozen songs, and at some point in time, someone will go, the B&O Railroad. Wow. And you could tell a story about, I lived by the B&O Railroad and blah, blah, blah. When he was a kid, and then he grew up to be whatever, and suddenly a song is evolving from scratch. So it's title driven, really, for me, but that's just me. I have written 2 tracks. I've done a lot of stuff in Europe where I'm writing 2 tracks, but even then, I need to find a destination, a title that really charms me, that invites the listener in. And generally, what I'll do is I'll develop the chorus and then say, okay, what's the most original way I can set up that chorus? And then I will take those 4 lines that just lead me straight into the song. But that title better reside within 60 seconds of the actual song.
Speaking of songs, would you like to listen to one and give some feedback?
I would love to.
All right.
Bring it up.
Whoops. Okay. You guys up for a little music? Okay, this song is called Shine. It's a singer-songwriter song, and I believe in this pile right there you have a lyric sheet.
Ooh.
A penny for your heart, $1 for your gorgeous mind. I need you to know that you make me feel alive. You had to risk it all, gamble everything. It's in the way you look at life, taking in each day, and how you make the most of it, even through the gray. You shine, you shine, you shine, you shine, breaking down the walls, seeing all the way inside. Let you all the way in, 'cause everything just feels right. It's in the way you look at life, taking in each day, and how you make the most of it, even through the gray. You shine, you shine, you shine, you shine, you shine, you shine, you shine.
cool. All right. Your thoughts, please.
Okay, first of all, hits, Robbie. Hits aren't written, they're rewritten. That's just the way it is. Um, Alan Shamblin was telling me about when he wrote with Mike Reed, he it was originally the song was originally written as an up-tempo bluegrass song.
Which song?
Pardon? The
Bonnie Raitt song?
Yeah.
Did they write that?
I Can't Make You Love Me.
Yeah.
It was originally
one of the 10 greatest songs of all
yeah,
time.
but it was originally written as an up-tempo bluegrass song, but it just wasn't working. So he went round to Mike Reed's house, and he told me this story, and he said it needs to slow down. So when jing jing, he said no, slow it way down. I can't make you love me, and it just really resonated. He is the master. Okay, penny for your heart, dollar for your gorgeous mind. I'd risk it all. I'd gamble everything. That's really great, but it's not leading me to you shine. A star for your heart, a rainbow for your gorgeous mind. I need you to know that you make me feel alive. For you, I'd risk it all. I'd throw the stardust away. How do you make the most of it? Even through the gray, you shine. Ollie, that's really interesting. Basically, I would all that stuff really has to lead to shine. And the other thing on the second time you do it, breaking all the walls, seeing all the way inside, letting you all the way in because everything just feels right. What you're going to do is you don't use the lift or climb. For you, I'd risk it all. I'd gamble everything. You go straight into it's in the way you look at life, taking it each day, how you make the most of it, even through the gray. You shine. I think I would do even more shine images, and just there's such a wonderful vehicle, and it's really good. I would have a good time with that. But I would have everything lead to shine. But even through the gray, you shine. And I'm not sure the penny, the dollar, or the gamble, everything leads me to that shine. Anyway, but that's it's really good, and you're gonna first of all, it's a great first step. Excellent.
You want to mute that sucker?
Yeah, sure.
By the way, that was Todd calling.
Oh, good.
Cool. Good job, Robbie. Yeah, normally we don't mention the writer's names. Robbie had already outed himself in the chat room.
But excellent. Really well put together.
All right, let's do one more, and then we'll do a couple more later. This one's called I Got My Girls.
I got my girls, I'm gonna be fine. For bad boys like you, I ain't standing in line. You got your football, you got the guys. It's all about you, while I'm standing here crying. 'Cause it's Friday night, the moon is just right. There's lipstick on my glass, I'm in my purse. And while you're out there stringing me along, I got my girls. Give me your right now, not in a minute, baby. Give me some certainty, I'm done with tomorrow and maybe. Give me your country heart, give me your truth. I don't need your attitude or rhythms and blues. 'Cause it's Friday night, the moon is just right. There's lipstick on my glass, I'm in my purse. And while you're out there stringing me along, I got my girls. You used to be chivalrous in your pickup and boots. You used to toss pebbles at night on my roof. But now it's Friday night and the moon is just right. There's lipstick on my glass, I'm in my purse. And while you're out there stringing me along, I got my girls. Bad boys come and go just like the moon. The cowboys always know just what to do to build that perfect fire in your heart. 'Cause romance ain't a pastime, it's an art. It's Friday night and the moon is just right. I got lipstick on my glass, I'm in my purse. No matter what this crazy world rains down on me, I got my girls.
Very cool. Is this written by a guy?
It is, I believe.
Okay. This is classic writer's assumption. If two girls go out and have lunch and one sits down and says, well, he left me. The other one goes, is he working out? Has he lost weight? Has he got a new car? Has he moved yet? They want to know everything that goes with, he left me. Two guys go and have lunch and one sits down and says, wow, she left me. The other one goes, man, that's a drag, have a beer. End of conversation, okay? Well, I've got my girls. I wanted to hear about the girls.
I was lost, I've got to say. There are...
What you're leading me to, I've got my girls? What happens with the girls?
And who are the girls? And I'm trying to find a delicate way to say this, but some women will refer to a part of their feminine anatomy as the girls. And because it leads up to it with, I got the lipstick on, got the pearls, I got my girls, for a split second, I went to that image and went, well, no, it can't be about that. But there is no further explanation of who the girls are, or why they're important.
It goes into the guy and blah, blah, blah. Now, see, if this was a girl singing it and you wanted to have a script, she's got her girls. She's going to be fine. For bad boys like you, she ain't standing in line. You've got your football, you've got the guys. It's all about you. But she's not standing here crying. She's not standing here crying because it's Friday night and the moon's just right. There's lipstick on her glass. She's in while you're out there thinking you're stringing her along. She's got her girls. And then the party starts. I want to know, they've got the jug of wine in the pickup truck and they're driving through town picking up guys. And I want a party. Come on. It's a vehicle for that
empowerment.
Empowerment.
Yeah, I wrote that down. In the first 20 seconds of the song, I wrote down empowerment, because it had a ton of potential to be a female empowerment song. Yeah. But it came off, it just kind of...
You were thinking like a man. Get over that, Daniel. Jeez, come on. It's taken me years to stop thinking like a guy. You've got, it's really, really important. Anyway, but it's going to be, again, just it's got all the outline. It's got a pre-chorus, which is what is happening in structurally right now. It's coming up. Bad boys come and go just like the moon, but cowboys always know just what to do. That really is good because it's a woman singing to this guy and saying, hey, how to build that perfect tire in her heart, because romance ain't a pastime, it's an art. And then you're going to go back after in the second verse, you got to give me some what the girls are rocking on. Anyway, whee!
No, this one's got a lot of potential.
It has a lot of potential.
Excuse me. I like the melody as well.
Yes, excellent.
All right.
The singing, it's a really good female vocal.
You want to go back now and do some of that other stuff? Do you want to take questions from the audience, or do you want to listen to more songs?
Let's take some questions.
Okay, so fire off some questions, you guys, because Ralph wants to take some.
Okay.
Somebody mentioned, I saw, where would you use this song in TV? Well, in my personal opinion, it's probably a little too much detail, although there are parts of it that would certainly work. You know, the whole aspect of I've got it done the way Ralph just explained it, it would be easier to pitch it for a TV show, for a scene about exactly what the song's talking about, which is a woman who doesn't need no guy because she's got her girls. Those scenes happen. Could be too on the nose for that, but it's got potential. All right, let's see. Question. No more I, Me songs? So that person wants to know. So that's it? I shouldn't write any I, me stuff, just always stick to you?
Well, first of all, if you're cathartic, the reason we all become songwriters is because we want to tell the world about us. The world doesn't care about you. Sad but true. They don't care about me. They don't care about anyone except themselves as that writer, that creator of that work sees them. Every song you fell in love with as you were growing up was about you. They read your mail, they tapped your phone, they checked your emails. They knew all about you, and they gave you as they saw you. That is your job as a creative human being, giving the listener them as you see them. And it requires a very accurate target, to basically knowing and caring a lot about that consumer and what they're going through. It's really, really important.
How do you avoid writing cliches? And do you talk about that in the book?
No, what I talk about in the book is when you finished a song, a way to make sure that it is engaging that listener full on and properly. That is the best part. Writing cliches, it's really the titles are never cliches. If you look at the titles, basically, of all the #1 songs, they're pretty cliche. I Love You, or Cheerleader is is really, really different. That's really cool. But even then, he uses the cheerleader. Need her. That rhymes with cheerleader, need her. But he uses in the bridge, when he gets to the middle eight, the midsection, he uses the pronoun you. So he makes it known that he is speaking about a specific human being.
Somebody asks if story songs are still marketable in country.
It depends on the story. That really is the house that built me is really a story song. Um, you remain linear. Basically, rap is a story vehicle. It is a story song. They're telling about the experiences on the street or encounters with you know women or their posse or whatever. But they are basically, whenever you remain linear, you are telling a story. The old adage used to be that you don't change your chord till you change your thought, and that is still the same thing that we cling to all the time. Wherever you're telling a story, you remain linear. I published a song, I Believe in You, for Don Williams. I don't believe in motor cars, organic food, and foreign cars. I don't believe the price of gold, the rising cost of going old. It was stayed on the one chord forever. But he was giving a laundry list of all the minutiae and detail that everyone needs to know. But when he got to the title, which was about I believe in love, I believe in babies, I believe in mom and dad, I believe in you, that was a totally different animal. That required melody because it was I believe in love. Come on, that's really corny, but the minutia that set it up was original. It was totally original.
First thing you look for in a chorus was a question that flew by a minute or so ago.
Well, what I would look for is the resolution of the idea, but I would look at the chorus and then I would look at how it's set up, how that first four lines, how did it lure me into that particular chorus. Also, if you look at like the Justin Bieber song, "What Do You Mean?" which starts with the chorus. What do you mean? It's literally the you and the mean. It is immediate, and it's also 125 beats per minute, so it is geared for the dance audience. But you will find a lot of dance records start with the chorus or start with a half the chorus, and lure the listener in. You're looking very intent.
Yeah, I'm trying to get questions because they're flying by quickly.
Right.
What's the typical or average BPM for country radio these days?
86, between 80 and 86 BPM.
And this is kind of a bastardization of somebody's question, so I wasn't exactly sure what they meant, but I think I get it. Which is more and more structures are being broken today. There are more anomalies out there. How do you feel about that? Why is it happening? That sort of stuff.
Okay, well, if you look at the structure for Hello, and it is probably one of the most performed songs of last year. It was a huge record. Adele just sang the brains out of it. But it was a structure that basically hadn't been on the charts, on the pop charts for like 25 years. It's the AABA structure. And there is a sense of time passage in that structure that I learned that years and years ago. The first verse is in the beginning verse, ending in the title or beginning with the title. Once you choose a beginning or an ending, you have to maintain the integrity of that rhyme scheme. The second verse is the here and now verse. The bridge is but what if, or information not included in the body of song. Then the third verse is the on down the line verse. There has to be a sense of time passage in that structure. Well, what she did is she added a two-line pre-chorus right before the what I would call the bridge, which of course you would call the chorus. It occurs twice each time before that bridge or pre-chorus or the chorus. And it's a strange little structure, but it really works. And it's fun, but only because you know fifth form and you know fourth form, can you do that? You can't break rules until you know the rules. If you're going to be a great jazz guitar player, you have to practice all the scales and the tunings and all the things that required that as a basic music education. Then, when you learn all that, you are free to be different. You can't be free to be different until you know everything the same. Yes.
Question: is the verse, chorus, bridge, chorus form dead?
What, the verse chorus?
Yeah,
Verse
the
chorus?
A B A B C A B song structure, is that dead?
A B? No, no, gosh, no. Matter of fact, the record of the year in country, it is living in country. A B, C B. Are you talking the instrumental or the
Bridge version.
bridge? Oh, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Verse, chorus, bridge, chorus.
Uh,
Actually, A B C A B would be verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus again.
there is no verse after. The
Right.
expectation of the listener is that after the middle eight or bridge, you are done with all the story. That may be an instrumental, but it's the expectation is you're going into the chorus. You can change one line in that chorus going out, and as long as you keep the integrity of the rhyme scheme around it. But just change a rhyme each time, especially if you're repeating the chorus over and over and over again. Change one line, either the second or third line.
Um, Talk about the song "Girl Crush," written by women
Hmm.
for women.
Yep.
Grammy and country or Grammy Country
Yep.
Song of the Year.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it uses the title immediately. I've got a girl crush. But it did not go to number one on the airplay charts at all. So it was not a darling of radio. It was more of sales, and it was a different audience that bought that structure. And it was basically verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, a small vestigial bridge, chorus and out. That was the structure on that. And it was fourth form, which I've noticed that there are a lot of fourth verse, pre-chorus, chorus, because the expectation is that that exists in pop. Whenever you're writing a pop song, the expectation of the listener is there's going to be verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, small vestigial bridge, and chorus and out. So not so much for country, but suddenly when country is taking into account streaming and sales and airplay as well, that structure is becoming more and more valid.
Jesse Peck wants to know, Ralph, speaking guitar work, is the more rock forms such as Keith Urban going to stay along with the strong beats? Question doesn't really make sense the way it's worded, Jesse. But I think what he's saying, will the rockier form of country stick around but have strong beats with it?
Well, they really don't exceed 100 beats per minute. I think there were only three of the 38 number one songs that went over 100 beats per minute. Whether you can have them, I would have to look at my notes and see exactly what that the beats per minute on the Keith Urban song are. But I would guarantee you they're probably about 85 to 90.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm scanning the list because there's a lot of chit chat going on between the questions. Question, Ralph, do you have another book in the works?
Basically, the book actually answers all the questions that you need. I can use current illustrations of those particular works, but if you're aware, I use probably the last illustrations I used were 2 years old. Um, I will probably do another one the end of this year, but it's going to be exactly the same structure. When you behave outside that, and when it becomes aberrant behavior, then that's basically you have the knowledge of it, so therefore you can grow from that. That's why you take chances, and you grow proportionately because you have the basic knowledge of the chords.
Okay. I'm going to get the next song ready to go while you answer this question. Do you see the rondo song form coming back in country?
I would love the rondo structure coming back. It was in Passenger, Let Her Go. It was that structure kind of. There is a guy in Ireland who has just recorded a song that was a hit, oh gosh, about 20 years ago. Um, but it is a lovely form. First of all, it starts with the chorus, goes to the first verse, goes back to the chorus, then a small instrumental, then the middle eight or bridge, then resolving chorus. There is no second verse in perfect rondo form. It was Good Morning Beautiful, which was a lovely, lovely song. Was written in perfect rondo structure, and it's rondo. Was originally was from the rondeau symphonic, and I was reading a book by W.O. Smith, which was set in the 30s and in Chicago, and he was talking about rondo, rondo, and because it started with the chorus, it got everyone up to dance. Well, basically, what they use in Europe is they will use the chorus to get everybody up on the floor. So I think it is really, really valid, and I would love to see someone do something with dance in rondo, perfect rondo structure.
Okay, let's listen to another song which is called Wishing for You. Here we go.
Okay.
I sit and watch the setting sun, waiting for the time you come, knowing all the while you're not with me. I savor all the alcohol, often wish to share it all, knowing all the while you're not with me. And all I ever wanted was your love from just a few short hours. Instead I'm dreaming days away, keeping all my fears at bay by wishing for you. Sometimes I gaze at glowing moon, it floats across the starlit sky, knowing all the while you're not with me. I listen to the daffodils soaking up the rays that spill, knowing all the while you're not with me. And all I ever wanted was your love for just a few short hours. Instead I'm dreaming days away, keeping all my fears at bay by wishing for you. Prayer from all the days gone by that weren't spent with you, and for my words to reach your ears, if you only knew that all I ever wanted was your love for just a few short hours. Instead I'm dreaming days away, keeping all my fears at bay by wishing for you, by wishing for you.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, there are several things. While you're not with me, wishing for you, what happened? That's the immediate question is this person is pining and drinking and gazing at the glowing moon and floating, and that she's not with me. Why? Why? What's the deal? Because that would drive me crazy. I want to know. And the other thing is, you create an expectation, knowing all the while you're not with me. 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 That really should be the title. I sit and watch the setting sun, watching for the time you'll come, knowing all the time you're not with me. I savor all the alcohol, often wish to share it all, knowing all the while you're not with me. All I ever wanted was your love for just a few short hours. Instead, I'm dreaming days away, keeping all my fears at bay, and all the while you're not with me. Sometimes, and then in the second verse, I would want to know what happened. I mean, did he drive her away, or he just was too cowardly, and something that makes this guy look like a good, maybe kill her off. You know, hey, death happens. Maybe she just died with any luck at all. But what you can do, by the way, and you can extend it, and you can do verse, chorus, and then maybe just have her die in that second verse, but listen to break it up and get rid of the second part of the second verse. Go to that chorus, and then you could do the bridge. But you need to explain to me why she is not there. It's you've got the great beginning. Now I need to go to what's happened.
What's your term for that? Writer's assumption?
Writer's assumption. And see, that's the kind of thing I battle all the time, because I'll play it for someone and say, what are you talking about? And all of a sudden I realize at the moment I have to explain it to someone, I have failed in my job. And my job was to give it a beginning, a middle, and an end. Totally. of that whole story, whole cloth. I've got to. If I don't do that, I fail.
We get screeners that make comments in the feedback that goes back to members talking about this very thing on a fairly regular basis. And the members get very frustrated when they see it in writing. What do you mean you didn't understand who she was or where she went or where she came from? All of a sudden, she walked into the room. Who is she? Why did she walk in the room? What relevance does she have to the story? And
Yeah.
it really upsets the members. But it's because they've got writer's assumption. They know the story that,
Yeah.
that is the germ
Yeah.
that hatched the storyline for the song. And,
That is one of the biggest battles all professional writers have, is writer's assumption. You assume that the listener knows everything you know. They don't. And your job is to invest them with that story.
maybe it's a good idea to block out the story. Write down an outline. Boy is lonely. Boy meets girl. Boy and girl fall in love. Boy
Yeah.
and girl move in together. Boy and girl have a fight. And block out a storyline so you've got
Sure.
the beginning, middle, and end in front of you, and then write to that.
A song
structure.
is basically a mini script. It is a 3 minute or 4 minute long script for a movie that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You can expand it, like The Gambler expanded from that little 4 minute song into a movie that has fed Don Schlitz really well for a long, long time. So, hey.
All right, let's do one more song. This one, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. It's either Jan Bars or Jan Bars. I'm not sure. Oh, normally we don't give out the names. Sorry about that. I messed up. And it's called Make a Move.
Saw you walk up in the club, eyes on you right from the start, baby. And it's until the overnight, your body burning into mine, baby. Oh, you want my heart, a feeling I just can't ignore. Got me wanting more and more. I think we know where this can lead. I can give you what you need. All you gotta do before the night is through. Oh, baby, make a move. Baby, make a move. Come on, baby. Tell me what I need to do to get you to make a move, baby. It's like you got me hypnotized. You don't have to ask me twice, baby. Oh, you want my heart. Never really felt like this. I just wanna taste your lips. Boy, I'm down for what you want. Make love till we see the sun. All you gotta do before the night is through. Oh, baby, make a move. Baby, make a move.
Yay! Well, it's perfectly designed for radio, whatever form you want it in, streaming, whatever. It's under 100 beats per minute. Saw you walk up in the club. Um, it also gets to the first use of title, make a move within 60 seconds. It also uses the which is call and response, which is really, really good. Most people don't sing very well. Therefore, whenever you na 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 na, hey hey hey, or yay yay, so they can
Ayo,
join.
ayo.
Ayo, yeah, so they can join in with that song and they can sing along with it. The moment they sing along with it, you own them. They will love that song forever, simply because and also the woman is empowered. She is dance till we own the night, your body burning into mine. Oh, you won my heart. She is in control, totally all the way through. I know how this ends. Boy, you won't regret it. Baby got moves of my own that I'm gonna make. And she is a strong woman, and dead ends, and everything's right on. It's leading me through the song by changing rooms, feelings I just can't ignore, getting me wanting more and more. I think we know this could lead. I can give you what you need. It leads me properly through the song. It's well written, good stuff. Yay!
Let's talk about writing at targets and casting songs. Um, a lot of people finish songs, and if you ask them, who would you pitch this to?
Hmm.
They couldn't tell you. Whereas most pro songwriters that I know, they don't necessarily, sometimes, but they don't always sit down to write for a target. But when they finish a song, they can usually tell you who some potential targets are.
Yeah.
How important is it to write with targets in mind, or a song, where you would pitch it?
It's very, very important, first of all, because for you as a creative human being, assembling product and knowing what you're going to do. In 50% of the time, 70% of the time, it will end up being recorded by someone that you never thought would ever record it. I had a hit like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, with Cliff Richard in England, #2 record, that I wrote with Paul Brady, and I never in a million years would I have thought of Cliff Richard. It's like, huh, what? It just didn't occur to me at all. There are so many songs that I write with other people that I'm sure and convinced that so and so will record, and somebody, the polar opposite, records it. So write your best song. Resist writer's assumption. Set the listener up. Invite them into that song. Minutia and detail in the first 4 lines lead me to that first use of chorus in 60 seconds. Like if you're popping, doing pop stuff, add a call and response. It's really, really important. Um, it's it's make that song a script that somebody is going to want to spend $1 million on. That is the key, because it is going to require that amount of money spent on it. And if it's not worth $1 million to you, then it probably won't be worth $1 million to whomever has the resources.
I have said to people in the past, mostly in the early days of Taxi, when I would answer a lot of the phones, people would say, I've got a hit song. All I need is that one person to hear my hit and get behind me. And I'd say, well, if you're that certain about your song, then ask your parents or your family members or friends or other relatives to go take out second mortgages on their houses and back you. And if nobody raises their hand and says, I'll do it, then maybe the song needs a little retooling.
Yeah.
That's if
Sure.
you've got a hit, people can hear it and would go, I want to, invest in that. This was a good question that went by a couple minutes ago. How do you balance the heart? That's heart, not art. The heart and the science as a songwriter.
Well, there are certain songs that you write for yourself. They are personal to you, and you just loved it, and it fulfilled everything that you needed to express at that point in time. Maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, you'll look at that idea and suddenly want to make it commercial, and you can change it at that point in time. But you've got to. It's cathartic in nature. You are monumentally dysfunctional as a human being. That's the basic profile for a great writer. So go ahead and be monumentally dysfunctional, but don't expect those cathartic gems, phlegms that you cough up to get the same respect as the songs, the ditties that you craft and you tailor for that are going to be scripts for someone to spend $1 million on.
Somebody said $1 million. To whom does $1 million go? I think you might have missed the early part of the show where we talked about this, which is that's what a record label is going to invest in marketing, promotion, all that stuff that record companies do runs about $1 million for a song.
Yeah, an agreement involving emergent. This is the International Federation of Phonographic Industry, which is a UK-based trade organization. An agreement which the $500,000 to $2 million is an agreement involving emerging artists and involves the payment of an advance, the funding of a recording, the music video production, tour support, and promotional costs. It can cost between $500,000 and US $2 million to break an artist in a major recorded music artist market. Those the facts.
All right, couple more questions. We've got a little bit of time left. Miguel says, thank you very much so much for your answer and your wisdom and being here.
I'm supposed to be here.
And we get to golf tomorrow. Can I tell him who we're golfing with tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay, he hesitated. All right. What's the gentleman's name? I'm drawing a blank from IMRO.
Victor Finn.
Victor Finn, who is the head of IMRO, which is like the ASCAP or BMI of Ireland. And I've golfed with him before. He's a great golfer.
Yes.
I suck. Ralph is somewhere in the middle. Ralph is the glue that holds Victor and I together. And we're also being joined tomorrow by Paul Williams, who is the chairman of ASCAP. So, and from what I understand, Paul and I are probably on a pretty similar level as golfers, so we may want to ride in a cart together.
Well, you're going to have a very good time, young man.
I can't wait. All right. A question. Do you think a co-write has a better chance of hitting the mark over just one individual? So a solo write versus a co-write. Do you find that co-writing improves the odds of making a better song and therefore having a hit?
Well, generally, one person will initiate the co-write. One person will be totally dissatisfied with it and go, this isn't working for me, and will initiate and take the hold and take the reins and probably carry out 90% of that co-write. So it's always an individual process, and you rely on, like I rely on people for melodic structures. They will lead me somewhere that I would not have gone, and it's very exciting for me. I really, really love it. It helps if they're strong contributors melodically as well, because I've written melody and lyrics to whatever. Load of hits. So just having fun. The more fun you have, the more money you make. Yes! Whee!
What kind of golf clubs do you use? Callaway's for me, Ralph.
Callaway's.
There you go.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I always have a good golfer with a fair golfer to speed the play, Michael. Yeah, well, it was so windy today. Seriously, the course that we usually play at together, it's a big boy course. It's a very long course. It's out in the mountains, and the rattlesnakes. And you guys actually, you and Hookman heard a rattler today, right?
Yes.
I was getting ready to
Yes.
swing, and you guys are going, "There's a rattler over there," but we didn't see it,
Yeah.
but they heard it.
Yeah.
Anyway, a lot of a million places to lose balls, and I got to tell you, every time you lose one in knee high anything, you think twice every time you put your foot down
Yeah.
out there.
Yes.
Yes, to expand on that, how many single writer songs? Oh, okay, that's a good question. How many single writer songs are you seeing in your study versus co-writes? Any evidence on that?
Almost none. Almost none. As a matter of fact,
Almost everything's a co-write?
yeah. Ever since Taylor Swift started writing with Max Martin and Red One and White Shadow and whatever. Although I would imagine that she forms probably 90% of that song.
And
I would just suggest
yeah.
that their contribution is production skills and maybe call and response. And I don't know because I'm not there in the room with them. But
brings up a great point. I think it was Russell Landwehr, one of our members who's actually in the chat today, was chiding the other taxi members that they don't take advantage of Taxi's forum frequently enough. And it is such a great place to meet people with skill sets that complement yours. There are a lot of people out there that have great ideas for songs and a great melody and a great basic idea, but they sound somewhat dated. They don't have current production chops. Then there are people who have more technical skills, listen to a lot of current pop radio, and have those production chops, but yet they aren't great song crafters. So I would say, based on Ralph's knowledge that virtually everything is a co-write these days, that you guys should spend more time in the
Yes.
forum and meeting each other and
Definitely.
raise your hand and say, this is what I do well, this is what I'm looking for. Find your collaborators.
I go out into the workplace, from my workplace, which is clubs and in conferences. And I was just at the East Coast Music Awards in Sydney, Nova Scotia. And I was there, and I ran into 12 writers, and there are probably a couple that I think resonate with me that I could really work well with. I'm going to the ASCAP Expo. I'm doing a Murphy's Law on Saturday for an hour and a half, basically. And I will probably meet 2 or 3 people who really resonate with me, that I feel comfortable with, that I could sit in a room for 2 or 3 days and write with. Then I will go on to Canada, to Toronto, to Canadian Music Week, where I will maybe run into 1 or 2 out of 1,000 people that resonate with me, that make me feel good, that make me want to write a song with them.
Tony Anderson wants to know, what instruments do you play, Ralph?
I play guitar and piano badly. I really appreciate piano, and I love it. And as a matter of fact, I've written a couple of number ones with Bobby Wood, who is a great keyboard player from Memphis. And Don't Take Me Half the Way and He Got You. I wrote 2 number ones with him. But I love keyboard players. I think they're wonderful. And matter of fact, if they have Pro Tools or Logic that adds into that, that is really, really cool.
All right. No more questions on the screen right now. And we're 5 minutes over. So let's call it a day. One more question. I saw Gloria posted this earlier, and I didn't get to it. Does the 100 BPM or less rule apply to pop music?
Well, if you look at Wrecking Ball, if you look at some of the bigger songs, they're under 100 beats per minute because they're received at radio, very well received at radio, and radio is a sedentary. It's when you're in your car or in your office, you are seated. You are not dancing. I had a dance label in New York back in the 70s, hardcore records, and we we had a lot of dance records. Everyone was doing cocaine at the time, so the heart rate was elevated. It was about 135 beats per minute. Um, but so I know all about the BPMs and I love dance records, but when I'm out dancing, so
Yeah, I've never. As long I've known Ralph for like 25 years, I've never seen him dance, and I'm grateful for that.
yeah.
All right, that's it, guys. Yes, Ralph will be at the Road Rally, which is November
Yes.
3rd through the 6th this year. It's going to be an awesome rally. I am trying so hard. There's somebody that I know you guys will love that I'm trying to get to keynote the rally this year, and I don't know what my chances are, but never hurts to try. So just know I'm already working on the road rally to make it the best ever, because it will be the 20th road rally.
Oh,
20 of those suckers. And every year,
Jeez.
after it's done, I say, I am never, ever doing another one of those. Ever. So 20th road rally, November 3rd through November 6th.
Thank God you do.
Yeah, well.
Thank God you do, man.
Thank God for my family being patient enough to let me work the crazy hours, and now my wife is involved, so it makes it a little easier. It's pretty ironic. My wife is here working today, and Ralph and I were out playing golf. That's the first time in the 24-year history of the company that ever happened. So thanks, Deb.
I think it's great.
And
Thanks, Deb.
Ralph and I will be back out on the course tomorrow. And Ralph, thank you for doing the show.
That's
and,
wonderful.
for
And
being
thank you.
perky, because I'll tell you, the two of us dragged our butts into the office today after that round of golf. The sun and the wind really takes it out of you. So we will see you guys next week. And I think for next week's show, I have slotted that we're going to listen to forwards and returns from the $30,000 commercial listing that we ran a little while ago. So I will see you guys then. Thank you once again, Ralph. And thank you, audience, for watching another exciting episode of Tech. It's 4 o'clock on a Monday, and you know what that means. It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Yeah, baby. This week, starring